from Bioenergetics, and today we're going to go through a scan right quick and see what a scan looks like. This scan I did yesterday for my daughter Batya. We're looking at in the scans we look at source energy, how you take in energy from the external environment. We look at energy strength. What is the strength of the signal of the flow through your body at various points that we've measured in the scan. Then we look at energy flow. How does the energy flow actually through your body? So we look at strength, flow, and then we look at mind and body. How do your mind and body harmonate together in terms of bioenergetic responses? Then we look at energetic immunity. We look at, we're not going to look at stars today. We're not going to look at energy rejuvenators. This is for the My Health device. We'll look at environment, nutrition, and we'll briefly talk about the life journey screens, and then we'll look at recommendations. So on this first screen here, let me start off here. Scan priorities. So if we look at these scans, if something is white, something is green, or something is yellow, we take note of it, but we really don't pay too much attention to it. Individually, we may look at them in terms of patterns, but what we're concerned with is things that are orange are priority and things that are purple are high priority. So that's how we're able to look. And as we go through these informations, as we click on different elements, you have a screen here to the right that's an information screen. And this information screen gives you all kinds of information, nutrition, energy hacks, all kinds of different things that you would be able to utilize in your personal life. So it gives you, not only do you give information from the scan, but you give information on how to correct it, what it means, what it represents in your life. So it's a very educational process, from that standpoint. As we go through, we're looking at source energy. So when we take in energy, we take in energy from the areas of our diet and from hydration. So in this case, there's a slight tick on diet, but we wouldn't really pay too much of attention to it. We have hydration is clean, which is really good. Movement, which is just not necessarily exercising, it's just moving throughout the course of the day and utilizing your body and utilizing all its physical functions. And movement builds up energy inside you. So movement is one of the things that we look at. And of course, oxygenation, because oxygen is what goes in and deals with your mitochondria and produces ATP, which is the energy your cells need to do whatever it is that they're responsible for doing in your body. So oxygenation is very important. Here we're looking at circadian rhythms, day and night. How during the day, it's how you respond to sun. Are you getting enough sun? How do you respond to daylight? Can you process daylight? In the night, are you sleeping well? Are your all of your hormones and everything in your endocrine system, is everything working, functioning properly in this element? So we look at this and we see that with the day, since everybody's kind of been on lockdown, she could probably use a little more sunlight. When we look at the big fields now, big fields each of us has a human body field, and how your human body field reacts with the Earth's body field adds to your wellness or your level of your wellness in a very, very large manner. So here we do have a purple, which is a high priority. And when we do this, we can go in and click on this, and it goes in and we can tell kind of where it is. Now, grounding here just deals with putting your feet and making contact, putting your feet on the earth or making contact, your skin to the earth, and taking in the negative ions from the earth. Here, we've got the magnetic axis, and the magnetic axis basically deals with the process of creating and distributing heat in your body. So that's how it affects your body if that axis is triggered. Your equatorial axis here basically deals with metabolic processes, including digestion. And then your vertical axis, which seems to be where we have the distortion in this case, is related to the nervous system function. So your vertical axis relates to your nervous system. So we'll be seeing some things later on that will verify that. So all this is the summation of how you take in energy. Then we click over to the energy strength screen, and we look at all the different areas of that. So each one of these areas you can click on, and over here to your right in your information, there is a help file. Now each one of these aspects, ED1 through ED16, all are energy drivers. So we have infoceuticals that are created that are connected to each one of these, so that you're able to. That's how we are able to organize our protocols. So energy drivers means that these infoceuticals that are assigned here would bring strength to the signal. So right here, the areas of concern are the heart driver, which, and I might need to make clear that when these things are indicated in your scan, is not indicating that there's something physically wrong with the heart, because this could be purple, and she does not have a boyfriend right now, but if she had a boyfriend and they had just had a big breakup or whatever, this would also trigger from an emotional standpoint. So what it is so the physical and the energetic, function together. So what we're looking at is bioenergetically looking at the heart, not at the heart itself physically. And it needs strength in that signal there in order for that heart to process information properly. We also look over here at the pancreas, and that's a priority. So there's a infoceutical that is assigned to that. Now, necessarily won't come up in the end of this in the recommendations, as it may not come up as a top 5 priority, but it's something that we take a note of in terms of diet, and as we move forward, we keep an eye on that. The triple cavity right here, we store energy in our body in 3 different places: in our cranial cavity right here, in our thoracic cavity right here, and our abdominal cavity right here. So as the heart pumps and moves and the lungs move and the organs function, energy is stored, energy is created, and that movement of energy is our energy coming from inside of ourselves. So this is energy that's developed internally in our body and doesn't come from the external sources that I showed on the previous screen. So this is internal energy. So that's something that we would want to look at in terms of priority. Moving on, just to get through the scan, we're looking at energetic flow. Now I can say that Bhatia was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and so in her whole digestive area, and her digestive tract, and in her stomach area, there are energetic distortions that need to be cleared up from that whole experience. She also had a surgery that she had to go through last March, so it was about a year ago. So we're looking at right now the different meridians. So now on the flow, we're looking at, these are different meridians in the body according to Chinese medicine. And so when something is ticked on this, a large intestine may not be the large intestine, but it's something on the large intestine meridian. So we click on here and we look and see, and these are all elements that are on the large intestine meridian. And these are areas where it's the same as the white to purple in terms of priority. 0 to 4 works in distortion. So 0 being no distortion and 4 being a high distortion. So in here we would just look at, and I'm not going to go through and analyze all of these, but we see that there are some distortions along this in the bronchi field, in the parasinus field, in the prefrontal field, in the thalamus field. And then down here in the descending colon, transverse colon, there's some distortions in the hepatic flexure field, which is in the liver. There's some distortion. So these are things that we would look at. So each one of these, as we go along, I'm sorry, I didn't go to the back. And we can flip it around here when that screen is shown. And here, this is where some of the main, in the cranial nerves field, remember it said that there was a nervous system based on the energy source, and looking at the big fields. And when we clicked on that, let me go back. Here's the energy source, big fields, vertical, relates to nervous system function. So then we go back here to flow, and we see that cranial nerves are in there. So that's the nervous system field. So that's being consistent with showing what was going on with the vertical axis. Also look at bowel nerves field, which also goes along with some digestive issues. You can look at the small intestine, which we'll look at, and so all these numbers, but looking at the small intestine, everything is clear down here, so that's great. That's super for her. We go down to liver is shown as a priority. Okay, liver affects many different things. Up here in your brain, here in your eye, and she said she was having some trouble, some little situation with vision, and there is a distortion with vision, which is connected to your liver meridian. Okay, so then we go to the liver, and we look right here. There's a 4 in the liver field, so that's showing that there's an energetic distortion in the liver, and it's on this liver meridian. Okay, so we go down to stomach, and we see that the paranasal sinuses field is distorted. Bronchi, diaphragm will go into the stomach peptide glands field has a 4, stomach mucosa field has a 3, and duodenal mucosa. So in the actual mucous membranes in the stomach, there is some distortions that are happening. So that's how we would. I'm not going to go into all the analysis, but that's how you would look at it. Then when you go to these, I'm sorry, in the help files, you can look at energetic links and keynotes. So stomach and digestion, nourishment, bone marrow. Well, she's not a male, but male sexual system and testosterone. Harbors heavy metals, emotions, satisfaction, fulfillment, courage, memory, suspicion, disgust, obsessive compulsiveness, emptiness. So these are all things that bioenergetically link to this stomach meridian. So this is the in-depthness of how how in depth this test can go, or scan can go. So now we're looking at, and these are all EI. So these are energetic integrators. So energetic integrators focus on integrating energy. So that's distortions and blockages. So this is integrating the energy flow into your body, as opposed to before we were looking at the strength. So now we're looking at flow. So we're going to zip over to the next screen. So I'm just going through these briefly. Mind body. Now this is often very deep with people, because these 4 top areas here are mind body holograms. So when we click on one of these, it tells us, and I'll go to this one because I know what it's about. Nourishment. Nourishment is a 4 on her. Well, I know it's a 4 on her because there were 2 months, or was it almost 3 months, where she had to go onto a liquid diet. And so based on that, it'll tell you a past emotional shock or conflict around food. This may be literally around starving from lack of food or inability to digest food, which she had both of. It may be about withholding from eating because there was a feeling that the situation couldn't be survived. It may be about a need to eat regularly and fear not having food, and fear of not having food. It may be about a conflict to do with being allowed to exist, having nourishment, support, and love to exist. Now, all these are tied to Louise Hay's affirmation. So after you figure out what these are in the mental aspect, you can get an affirmation in order to how to deal with that from a mind-body standpoint. So all the nourishment I need is abundantly found all around me. That comes from that. Here was intimidate, dealing with the bladder mucosa, past emotional shock of conflict and confrontation over not knowing how to define one's position, fearful of marking one's space, a sense of wanting to know where I stand, and able to define one's position, not being able to recognize boundaries. The affirmation that goes along with that is I am confident in who I am, where I stand in the world, and what I can contribute. So having moved from Israel, a whole other country, and living in, and she's had to come to the United States, has been a very dramatic process, in her life, and so that comes up there. Now I'm going to keep on moving. There's other ones, but I'm going to keep on moving just to show that types of things. Moving forward, is one. Move forward, a feeling of not budging, not letting go, a past emotional shock or conflict involving flexibility and moving forward. This may be physically that a body became rigid and could not move. It may mean a situation arose involved being frightened, rigid, and could not move. It may refer to a situation that required a flexible approach but was met with a rigid attitude. There may be a feeling that change, self or others, cannot happen because this would involve being adaptable, and a fear of what this would mean, stubbornness, pride, and ego. Now, anybody who knows Bhatia knows that Bhatia is very stubborn when she makes up her mind. So this is reflective in this scan in the feat of moving forward. Opportunities to freely move through life and readily come to me. The opportunity to freely move through life readily comes to me. That's the affirmation down here that goes along with that. So I'm going to keep on going through, but just so you can see, uh, vulnerable, heart, warrior, argument, soiled. In this one here, particularly, um, marking of territory, past emotional shock or conflict over not knowing how to define one's position or fearful of marking one's space, a sense of wanting to know where I am, where I stand, and able to define one's position, not being able to define one's position, not being able to recognize boundaries. So, I am confident in who I am and where I stand in the world and what I can contribute. So these are some of the things that are going on. Danger is here because this is a fear that's generated from what's going on in the world right now with the coronavirus and everything like that. Um, and so this goes in very, very, very deeply. You know, speak, territory invasion, loss, but all these are pointed to the areas of your body on where they affect you. And so things that happen to us energetically outside actually carry an imprint on our energetic body. And so through this mind brain hologram, we're able to see where those take place. Now down in here, these are our mind body infoceuticals and mind body areas that we'll deal with. We're not going to go too much into them. And these are energy stars. We're not going to go too much into them, but I'm just giving you the in-depth look at how deep this scan can go. Emotions, positive emotions. Everything that looks pretty good on here because it's all green, yellow, so there's no orange or anything like that. But you kind of look at them just if you want to analyze what's going on sometimes, with your children, particularly as parents, look at fear is ticked, but it's not extreme, but fear, anger, regret, grief, guilt. Those are the negative aspects. And then compassion, trust, acceptance, those are all ticked. But these go into, and each one you click on, you click over here, and it gives you a whole write-up on each one of these. So as you go along, you can be educated. The next thing after the mind bodies, we look at energetic immunity. And energetic immunity deals with your overall ability to run information through your system, flow information through your system, and these are all connected to areas of protection in your body. Now here, knowing that Crohn's is an autoimmune, we see immune 1 here ticked. And this is the energetic terrain number 1. This infoceutical has been designed to restore integrity through the energetic terrain 1 field, and it's related to functions including forming healing messages and providing energetic immunity. ET1 field appears to influence the healing of tissues of the red and yellow parts of the bone marrow, tongue, heart, and frontal lobes of the brain. Now, if you remember, frontal lobes was a 4 in a previous scan. Heart was ticked. So these are things that are showing patterns that are consistent. Now down here, and I'll kind of give you what these are. Immune 1, 2, we'll go through those, but we won't go through those. But here, broad spectrum virus. This is just if your body has detected any kind of virus. It doesn't matter what virus it is. It's just that there's a virus in it. And the broad spectrum, it just gives your cells information on how to properly eliminate the virus in your body. This CFI, this is cold flu immunity. So this is respiratory, pretty much related, and cold flu immunity. This one right here, CFS, is chronic fatigue syndrome. So we're looking at some energy drain and some fatigue in there, and it's at a yellow. So it's something that we would consider moving forward. Looking at liver here, the liver 2 and liver 3, each one has, so liver 2 appears to heal the healing tissues in the liver, large bowel, stomach, esophagus, ileum, motor, and sensory cortex. Now remember, the stomach was one of the areas that was um, uh, highlighted as a priority, as well as the large bowel was a showing of a priority. So this is consistent with those in terms of this liver being highlighted as a priority. We move down here. Um, Tissues in the liver, large bowel, larynx, skin, motor, and sensory cortex. So this is just another aspect of liver function that has a different slight energetic frequency. So they've separated it into the top one, which is right here, liver 1, liver 2, and liver 3. Now, the liver is very important, so we need to look at how things are being processed. And is this coming from any of the medication or something like that that's maybe stressing the liver in her body? So we're going to take a look at that from a parental standpoint. Autoimmune is only ticked yellow, which is super considering that she had an autoimmune disease. And I'm saying had because I really don't think that she has the Crohn's anymore based on what I'm seeing in the scans. And it's just some energetic things that we need to work on now in order to alleviate this. I will go to this right here. We have a My Health device that I use that sends out electromagnetic frequencies directly to the body. And this is telling me the areas to utilize the pulsed electromagnetic device over. So each one of these, and as you click on here, of course, you'll get information over here that tells you what it's all about and everything. So you're constantly educated throughout the whole process. These are what they call matrix regulators. And these deal with the overall cycle. Here, this is MR cycle, so she needs the entire MR cycle to help restore her her overall body matrix and information. So I'll read this. The matrix is a term Peter Fraser used, who was a co-founder of Ness Health, used to describe the liquid crystalline connective tissue elements of the body, a matrix to which the energetic integrators belong. Therefore, this matrix is associated with all the information pathways that allow our bodies to function properly. They are key to the flow of information. So all of these are dealing with the flow of information in the body, because we get ill when we have distortions in energy, flow, and information in our body. That's what causes illness. So this is helping bring correction and corrective flow to the information to the body. Then we'll look at environment. Environment, we're not going to go through these in detail, so I'm just going to look, but the areas that it looks at: home, work, and personal. And these are things, if something is highlighted on here, it does not necessarily mean, okay, right here, this screen reports on the body's ability to deal with the impact of environmental factors. The NEST screening process detects the functional damage to the body field related to specific and general groups of environmental toxins. It does not indicate that the physical toxins are present, but that the energetic damage associated with the toxins are present. Indicated readings against environmental issues on this screen can mean one of four things. Number one, the body's ability to deal with the indicated toxin is compromised. Number two, the physical toxin may be present. Number three, the physical toxin may have left the body, but the energetic damage remains. And four, the toxin may never have been present in some way, but in some way the body associated damage to the body field has resulted. So this is dealing with a body field. Body field. So looking at some of these things, this kind of concerns me with the arsenic. These are herbicides. So glyphosate is slightly ticked. Atrazine is slightly ticked, and 2,4-D. So we need to these are things that you can observe in your diet. Let me look at environment number two. Environment number two, fungicides, insecticides, food, things that are in food, mold, and we see some things. So her body has either been exposed to, or he doesn't really tolerate mold at all. Radiation, surprised. EMF is not ticked. Microwave and infrared are ticked. So this deals with radiation and as much things that are going on in the world right now. This is a very, very important screen to detect what's happening with radiation in your body and how your body is able to process radiation. Okay? And then these are all the related infoceuticals that deal with all these different aspects in the environment. So we're seeing that where these things are highlighted as priorities, they're affecting areas over here. Okay, so we're going to keep moving on because we're just going through a brief overview. Vitamins field, nutrition gets pretty deep. This is the vitamins field. This shows where your body field is lacking the imprint of these vitamins in your body. You may be taking them, you may be having exposure to them, but it's not being absorbed into your body. Okay, so we'll look at, we look at this and take a note. So we look at vitamin fields, fat fields, then in nutrition 2, we're able to go into mineral fields and see where we have mineral deficiencies. We're able to go into antioxidant fields and see what's going on in those fields. In nutrition 3, we deal with protein fields, essential amino acids, conditionally essential amino acids, and other amino acids. All those are taken into account, and each one of these, as you click on the information, there is a file over here for you to look at, so you can be educated in the process. Then we look at digestion and overall metabolism. We have a basal metabolic rate, which shows a priority. pH is, and all these are on yellow, something that we need to consider. Malabsorption, which can come from the small intestine, large intestine, absorbing nutrients into our body. So we do see that there's some malabsorption issues. Then we look at blood oxygenation, B9, folate, B12, vitamin C, and iron field. The only thing that we have is B12, and we're working on that right now in the household. Then we're going to go and to look at sensitivities. She has, in general, everything is, within limits. She does have a sensitivity bioenergetically to quinoa. So that's something that we need to note because we eat quinoa in this house. Sensitivities to beans. Now, understanding that there were some digestive issues and things that were going on, so we may look at, beans may be a little rough for her body to be able to break down, because sometimes in these sensitivities right here, over here in the help file, food sensitivities may have to do with a lack of enzymes to break down the food, reactions to sugars, stimulants, artificial ingredients, etc. An autoimmune reaction that is not an allergy. Common reactions include gas, bloating, cramping, constipation, nausea and diarrhea, headaches, brain fog, and other neurological conditions. So all these come from aspects that can be food sensitivities. So it's very important to be able to go in this and see where you have biogenically, where you have any sensitivities. Nightshades, she's all clear on those, and others, casein, histamines, lactose, all these are okay. So there's no sensitivities in there. Now, very quickly, I'm going to breeze through this, but this is life purpose, and this is when you really get into the mental aspects. Now, remember, this is all from the same 15-second scan of just her putting her hand on my scanner, and this is all the information that comes up. So understanding your world, intuition, signs, destiny, these are things, but as you click on each one of these, there are help files that go along with that. We're not going to go through those right now for the sake of time, but understanding your world, then being aligned with your purpose. We can go into different questions about being the change and different areas and aspects of your body. There's a whole understanding that goes along with this. Education process that goes along with this. We're just going to keep going. Just want to show you just the in-depthness. Those who function within the hero's journey paradigm, it gives you where you have distortions and need improvement within the paradigm of hero's journey. For those who utilize that as a help, this is based on Carl Jung's work. And Carl Jung was an amazing psychiatrist and psychotherapist, and So there's information on this. So those who understand this king, queen, warrior, magician, lover paradigm can utilize this to their own advantage as they move through. Beliefs. These are all aspects of belief, meaning that this is the statement, and this how, and then the thing is how you respond. So we'll keep on moving through that. Let's see, transformation cycles. These deal with your chakras right now. So your root chakra, this connects to that, and there's a whole thing, but this is thing. So trustfulness. Well, imagine in these times with everything going on, fake news and everything. I mean, there's a lot to, so trustfulness is something that is ticked here at the root chakra. Tolerance, that's your sacral chakra right there. Then willpower, that's your solar plexus chakra. Charisma is based in your heart chakra right here. Honesty is based in your throat chakra. Contentment is in your third eye chakra. And love is in your crown chakra. So it gives you information on how your chakras are in terms of their energetic alignment and bioenergetic alignment. Let's see. I think we've pretty much gone through. This is where we started emotional guidance. We came pretty much. Did I do life purpose? Yeah. Life purpose I did. Okay, so we've gone through these. We didn't. Yeah, transformation. There's one more. Creative cycle. I knew there was one more we didn't do. So here's a creative cycle. Intention, communicate, identity, awareness, flow, emotion, exchange, assimilate, animate, boundary, transform, analyze, security, centered, manage. And these are all energetic, bioenergetic matches to these different aspects and with their situation. So right here we see a priority on emotion. So you can click on that and it goes with the heart driver. Well, the heart driver is one of the ones that was a priority in a previous screen. So we'll just read a little bit about that. The physical heart is associated with pumping blood around the body. Modern scientific studies and ancient wisdom also strongly link the heart with emotions. Nest theory and research into the human body field also suggests the heart field matches with emotions. The heart driver equates in the creative cycle to the emotional reason and motivation for making a journey, and the emotional experience is gained from that journey. Emotional fulfillment is a major reason why people set out on a course of action. Our qualities of actions are governed by our emotions attached to them. A single task can be carried out without love, peace, wonder, humor, anger, fear, spite, or many other emotions. Having a clear, balanced, good emotional motivation is a powerful way of ensuring success, fulfillment, and higher sense of well-being. So I won't keep on reading, but that's just how in-depth this goes in terms of life journey. Then we end up the scan with the recommendations. So based on looking at everything in here, the way this reads, these are days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to 28. These are infoceuticals. Remember, I've talked about previously about infoceuticals, and these are structured water that have been put into electromagnetic field and then encoded with bioinformation and frequencies that are related to each one of these areas. So right now, the highest priorities were the big field alignment, which was that vertical axis that needed to be dealt with, that dealt with the nervous system, the large intestine, the liver, the immunity one, and the triple cavity. So the system looked at it, and based on its analysis, these were the top 5 priorities. So what we would do is we would order these infoceuticals. They would get to us, and approximately when Atlanta gets it to you in about, from the day you order it, probably 2 business days later, you will get your product. These you just take, this is drops, so you take 15 drops of this, 15 drops of this one, 15 drops of this one, 15 drops of this one, and 15 drops of this one. You put them all in the same glass of water, and you drink it in the morning once a day, and that's the entire protocol, and it gives your body the proper corrective information for your cells and for your emotional well-being within those drops. Down here, the My Health device that I talked about, which is the pulse electromagnetic device, these are the areas where it says needed to be worked on. Ankle joints, heart, jaw, cranial nerves, calm mind, and restore matrix. So all of these can be programmed into my health, and then I take it and I give her my health. She holds it, and those electromagnetic frequencies are broadcast into her body. Down here we have a patterns area where we look at patterns, and we see cardiovascular system patterns. So all these things we have to relate to the cardiovascular system, nervous system right here, energetic immunity terrains right here, intestines right here, eyes, vision, and visual. So these are the areas of concentration that we would be looking at in the healing process, and we would be discussing what we can do in lifestyle hacks and different things like that to bring that into full, to bring it into balance. So with that, this is pretty much the bioenergetic system and how the scan works. I hope it's kind of enlightened you into how in-depth this is on a 15-second scan that's completely non-invasive, that it can tell you all this information about your well-being and how you are. So with that, this is Russ Goldston signing off. This has been a preview of what a bioenergetic scan looks like so that you see how in-depth it is. And I would encourage everyone, and also I would encourage everyone to remember that this can all be done remotely. So meaning that you can contact me, I input you into the system. You can purchase a scanner. These scanners are normally $100. They are now being sold for $30 for the USB, and they are $60 for a Bluetooth version that will hook up to your smartphone. So you can just all you have to have is your smartphone and this energetic scanner, and Bluetooth it to your smartphone where you've downloaded this simple software, and you put your hand on it, and I will get a email notice anywhere I am in the world, from anywhere you are in the world, and it will let me know that you have been you have scanned and that I need to review it. Then once I review it, we set up a Zoom call, and we can go through the scan just the same way that I've gone through it on this presentation here. Go through the scan with you, and we make some recommendations. We can drop ship the infoceuticals straight to you wherever you are in the world, and you will get them. So this practice can be run totally remotely. You don't have to worry about leaving the comfort of your home. And another aspect of this is that I can actually do dogs, cats, and horses with the same scan, same information, and can issue infoceuticals that will correct the situations with your animals as well, because this is a very stressful time for them. They pick up the stress that's on you as humans, and they process it in their system. So many times you will find similarities between a animal and the owner of the animal in terms of health and wellness. So with that, I'm signing off here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and that this has been very informative, and that you will give me a call in the future and take control of your life and invest in energy for life. That is what's going to take us forward, moving forward. Our lives will never be the same. Immunity is something that we're always going to have to monitor. Our health is always going to be something that we monitor. And this system gives us a very simple way that's educational and high tech that gives us this information. So it's cutting edge, and I'm here to serve you. So have a blessed day.